Hi everybody and welcome back to my videos, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Rumble, whichever one you happen to be watching this on. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the failed No Kings protest, the second one. So the first one was back in June. I believe it coincided with the U.S. Army's 250th birthday parade, which the mainstream media was depicting as Trump's birthday parade, because Trump's birthday happens to coincide with the Army's 250th birthday, so they share a birthday together. So here's the problem with that. I mean, they was pushing that narrative for weeks before it even came up. Then on that day, if it was Trump's birthday parade, why didn't you see any sign that said "Happy Birthday, Trump" or something to that effect? Also, there was no evidence that it was Trump's birthday parade, since the preparations was made months in advance before the 2024 election. Okay? So they're over there protesting, no king. So, and yet they can't even explain how Trump is acting like a king. I mean, for what? Enforcing the law? Enforcing border laws, which other administrations have ignored? Maybe that's why, because the people who were benefiting off of that are now mad. Now that Trump is taking away their source of money or whatever, because they were benefiting off of that somehow. I mean, they must have been. They must have something to gain from this right here. So here's the thing. They were there protesting doing the No Kings protest, the second one, and I would imagine that there's going to be a third one at some point. I don't know when that would be, but knowing these people, you know that there's going to be a third one eventually. And I would imagine that there's going to be a bunch of No Kings protests throughout Trump's presidency. I would be surprised if there's not. Either that, or maybe some of these people will eventually see the light as Trump gets more done. Because the truth is, they're protesting stuff that doesn't even exist. They're protesting a problem that don't even exist. And you know what? I think they know it. Because who shows up at a protest? When because they're coming out the rights are being taken away, and there's no proof of any of that. So they're claiming that Trump is acting like an authoritarian, a dictator. He's taking away all these rights. So who shows up at a protest like that? If something like that were to actually happen, who shows up all dressed in silly costumes, frogs, unicorns, dinosaurs, fruits, Pokemon? Who shows up? What's with all these silly costumes? You expect anybody to take that kind of protest seriously? Where you can show up at a rally dressed in any costume you want? Which ironically debunks what your whole protest is about in the first place? Because if Trump was truly a dictator, like you say he is, he would not allow you to protest. He would have enforcers shutting it down immediately. If there was actually anything to protest about. Because here's the thing. It seems to me that if you're going to go out and protest, I don't know, you might want to have the facts on your side. You want to make sure you have the facts straight. Because if you go out there and protest against something that's not even going on, you make yourself look like a fool. Okay? I mean, this here No Kings protest makes as much sense as protesting graham crackers. No, I'm sorry. This here No Kings protest makes as much sense as boycotting graham crackers because you don't like Billy Graham. I mean, I looked it up. I mean, apparently, Billy Graham has no connection to graham crackers. So, it would be dumb to boycott graham crackers because you don't like Billy Graham. Okay? Same thing with this No Kings. You're protesting against something that doesn't even exist. It's not even a problem. You see, previous administrations, Obama, Biden, they were all too lenient. They was allowing stuff to go on that shouldn't have been going on, which made things worse. And what you're calling authoritarianism is actually Trump cleaning up the mess that Biden left behind, doing something about stuff that previous administrations ignored. Okay? I mean, you call Trump a king, and yet he faces opposition in everything that he does. Okay? Like, every time he tries to do something, it seems like a judge tries to block him. I mean, that because this right here, we can all be patient for we can kind of work with Trump on him trying to keep his promise. Because every time he tries to do something, a federal judge tries to block him. I mean, how many times has a federal judge blocked Trump? Now? Because, I mean, that doesn't sound like a king to me. Because a king could just do it. Wouldn't have to go to no federal judge. And some people might try to make the argument that the fact that Trump is ignoring the federal judge is proof that he's an authoritarianism. Or, excuse me, an authoritarianism. A dictator, I'm trying to say. But why doesn't anybody question whether or not these federal judges might be abusing their authority? Huh? Who's to say that these judges are not abusing their authority because what Trump is doing goes against the narrative? That's something to think about. See, a king could just go up there and get things done. A king, especially the kind of person that they're painting Trump as, they would not allow you to protest in the first place. If Trump was truly a dictator type of person, he would have done everything in his power to make sure that this No Kings protest never happened. And yet, the fact that you can not only go out and protest, but you can also protest in silly costumes, shows how much of a non-issue this is. It shows that there is no problem. I mean, because if you want a protest to be taken seriously, you can't do it dressed up in silly costumes. I mean, I'm pretty sure that nobody at the Boston Tea Party was dressed up in silly dinosaur costumes or frog costumes or any fruit costumes or any costumes of any kind. Oh, I suppose that technically dinosaurs was discovered after 1776, but still, nobody was dressed up in silly costumes for the Boston Tea Party, I believe. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. Do an actual protest? I don't believe anybody was protesting dressed up in silly costumes. Okay? I mean, technically you could, but why would you want to? Why would you want to protest your rights being taken away, dressed up as a unicorn or a fruit or a Pokemon or something, when the very fact that you're protesting proves that your rights are not being taken away? That's always been a lie. Okay? So, the protest yesterday, the No Kings protest, was baseless. They're protesting against something that doesn't even exist. These guys basically declared Trump as king, and then they're protesting against it. That's what they're doing. I mean, I kind of think it's funny. Yeah, they're protesting against imaginary problems. Okay, so because their definition of Trump being a dictator is Trump enforcing immigration laws and and uh, and doing away with all the mess that the Biden administration caused. Doing away with, I mean, if they're doing away with problems caused by previous administration, that was ignored. Okay, I mean, again, Trump gets. Okay, I mean, every time Trump tries to do something, a federal judge tries to block him. That doesn't sound like a king. A king could just do it. We didn't need no federal judge. And if Trump was actually king, a protest wouldn't have done anything about it. I mean, I don't think the people in England can do anything about King Charles being the King of England. Okay? So, it's kind of interesting to see if there's going to be a third, No Kings protest at some point. I do not know when that would be, but knowing how these people are, they're going to find something to protest about. And either maybe some people will buy into it without any evidence whatsoever. Because these people, they believe everything negative they hear about Trump was little to no evidence whatsoever. And boom, there you have it, a third No Kings protest. I mean, you know that it's going to happen at some point. And there might even be a fourth and a fifth. I mean, I wonder how many No Kings protests it's going to be before people realize that that this is nothing. I mean, here's the thing. The mainstream media has been comparing Trump to Hitler for over 10 years now. It is amazing that people are still buying it. Okay? It is just amazing. So yeah, people are protesting against imaginary problems yesterday. I mean, imagine declaring Trump as king and then protesting against it. Because the only one calling Trump a king are the people protesting against it. Okay? They're the only ones doing that. You're protesting against a problem that does not exist. And if it did exist, you would take this protest more seriously. Because if you're going to show up at a protest dressed up in some silly costume, a Pokemon, a fruit, a dinosaur, a frog, whatever, that just shows that you're not taking this protest seriously. And that there's really nothing worth protesting about. Okay, because when there's something legitimate to protest about, I don't believe that anybody's going to show up there wearing some silly costume. Okay, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Well, I'm going to end this video here because it's kind of getting long. That's it for this video. Bye.